Tariff inflation arrives as President Trump continues to wage war against the Fed. It's Wednesday, the 16th of July, and this is what you need to know. Traders will be closely awaiting the release of US factory inflation due out later today. It was after consumer prices rose at the fastest pace in 5 months in June. Goods categories exposed to President Trump's tariffs, including toys and appliances, sharply increased at the fastest paces not seen in years. Traders shaved back bets of US interest rate cuts from the Fed this year, but President Trump continued to rail against the central bank. Trump suggested that a $2.5 billion renovation plan for the Fed could be enough to fire Chair Jerome Powell. June's producer price index is expected to show a monthly increase of 0.2%, breaking a string of tame readings. Our number of the day is 3.6%. That's the unexpected jump in UK inflation, the highest level since January 2024. The pickup was driven by higher prices for petrol, airfares and rail tickets. Sterling rose slightly against the dollar after the data, which may put more pressure on the Bank of England not to cut interest rates when it meets in August. Policymakers have said they're focused on the weakness in the UK's labour market, making tomorrow's wages and jobs numbers crucial. Crypto Week in Washington hit an early snag on Tuesday, delaying long-awaited legislation for the sector. A faction of Republican hardliners joined Democrats in delaying a procedural vote needed to move on. President Trump said he had stepped in to broker an agreement and convinced holdouts to move forward with legislation. Bitcoin rose on the back of the news as industry backers are expecting this week's bills to promote wider use of digital tokens. President Trump said he was likely to impose tariffs on pharmaceuticals as early as the end of this month. Any tariffs could immediately impact drug makers like Merck and Pfizer, who make drugs overseas. Trump also said his timeline for imposing tariffs on semiconductors was similar. That could hit not only chips, but popular products like Apple's iPhones. Keeping with chips, and our stock of the day is ASML. The company warned that it may not achieve growth in 2026. It warned that tariffs on new systems and parts sent to the US could negatively impact its gross margins. Second quarter bookings did beat expectations though, as AI drove strong orders. And that's what you need to know this morning.